that we talked about Green Day on this channel was way back in 2021 when I finally got around to seeing them during the fantastic Hella Mega Tour. And these days have taught me that anytime a new band is having a new album, there's probably going to be a tour that will go ahead and follow. I have to admit that this time around, I actually liked the album Saviors a lot more than I liked Father of All Motherfuckers. Not that it was bad, but I just liked a lot of the songs from Saviors more. Personally, I think that The American Dream is Killing Me is a huge, huge mood. But a lot of the other songs in the album are pretty good too. And before we get into anything here, I just want to say that I actually really enjoyed Saviors, and I recommend giving it a listen. But this time, Green Day was not touring with Fall Out Boy, Weezer, and the Interrupters. They were touring with a band called the Linda Lindas, Rancid, and the Smashing Pumpkins, which I was particularly excited for. And if that wasn't enough to entice you about this tour, Green Day had announced that this is the 30th anniversary of Dookie. It's also the 20th anniversary of American Idiot. So that means that Green Day decided that they are going to play both Dookie and American Idiot front to back in their entirety. No bonus tracks, of course, for the most part, like anything that was added. It was only the original release. But you gotta think, that's one hell of a setup just from that alone. Now, I have to admit, I am literally as old as Dookie. I turned 30 at the end of the year, so I am quite literally as old as shit. But American Idiot was one of the first albums that I truly, truly fell in love with. So, this was a tour that I absolutely had to go and see. Now, I did go ahead and I did see them a little bit over a week ago at this point, and one thing that was a little concerning at the time was the weather. While we were on our way to the venue, that's when the rain started to come down. At this point, we were kind of in that weird space. Are they going to go ahead and play? Are they not going to go ahead and play? We were already at the venue, so we might as well see what happens. Now, luckily, it wasn't really too severe. It did kind of ruin some aspects of the concert just a little bit. Unfortunately, the opening band, the Linda Lindas, did not get a chance to go ahead and play their set. So the opener, from what I saw, was Rancid. So those were the group that started first. I do want to say, though, is God bless Green Day for being really, really fucking cool. They actually brought up the Linda Lindas in the middle of their set right before they got into American Idiot to go ahead and have them play a quick song and just to kind of say, hey, this is the band that was supposed to open for us. The rain kept them away. Go ahead and support them. And I thought that was really, really nice. So for you viewing pleasure, I'm going to go ahead and play that clip. I don't know very much about the Linda Lindas, except that they have one song where they just say Linda Linda over and over again, and I think that's cool. They seemed like a nice group. I would have really liked to go ahead and actually hear more of them from the single song that we did get, but so it goes. Maybe they'll be around again someday, and I hope that they come around and I'll be able to get to see them in their entirety. But let's go ahead and let's get started with Rancid. Rancid was not a band that I was necessarily super familiar with. I know that they're pretty old school in the punk rock scene, been around for a very, very long time, like many of them are at this point as well. The one song that I did know from them was Soho, and they did go ahead and play that at the end, which was really, really fun. Time to say goodbye. About Rancid is that they had some really awesome high energy, and it was great. I know that they weren't the traditional opener. They weren't supposed to be the first band on, but they were, and I'm glad that they were. It was great. Very high energy, very, very friendly. You know, a bunch of big dudes with beards and tattoos and shit. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I like that. Can't say point during Rancid's set where they went ahead and they actually let the audience know that a keyboard player who had been with them had died, and I was kind of shook me by surprise there for a second, because I didn't think that we were getting that dark. And of course, it's always a shame when a loved one does pass away like that. Overall, an awful amount of high energy. Very great, very entertaining. I would very much love to get into Rancid more. I think I'm going to go ahead and check out some more of their songs besides Soho. But they were great. They were absolutely great as an opener.
You know what time it was when the finally seen all your broken dreams come crashing that door's door. I said, "Hey, the man and answer."
Next up on the list here we have the Smashing Pumpkins. Little secret, I've been a Smashing Pumpkins fan for a very, very long time. Ever since I was since I was a teenager, I think. It was one of those bands that I kind of enjoyed in secret. A lot of my immediate friends really weren't into that kind of music. It's like kind of close to being emo, sad music, but like not really. I guess it would probably be closer to alternative, but they have a much more chill vibe than a lot of the stuff that my friends are into, like metal and hard rock. And it's certainly a very striking contrast to Rancid. I'm actually surprised that Smashing Pumpkins was coming up after a band that was so high energy. And not that they brought it down, but they have just more of a slower, a chiller vibe. Not that Smashing Pumpkins doesn't have some heavy hitters. A couple of great songs that I love to go ahead and see from them is they played Doomsday Clock, the one they used in Michael Bay Transformers. I thought that was really cool. They played 1979, one of my favorites. Tonight, another one of my favorites. And of course, they had to play Bullet with Butterfly Wings. The World is a Vampire. About Bullet with Butterfly Wings, I too, despite all my rage, am still just a rat in a cage. I saw some earlier reviews from some of the prior shows, and they said that Smashing Pumpkins didn't do a very good job, and I have to disagree. I think some of the issue that came in is some of the sound quality with the singer. He has a very higher, little bit of a nasalier voice when he sings, so I feel like it doesn't necessarily protrude a lot all of the hard rock. But Smashing Pumpkins was really, really entertaining. They did put on one hell of a good show. One point in the show where this wrestler dude came out, was buff guy with a dad bod, and he was all flexing, and then this hot dommy mommy wrestler came out with a little kid, and the little kid punched the dude in the dick, and then the mom did an RKO, and I was like, holy shit, that was fucking cool. Evidently, the Smashing Pumpkins singer was, or maybe it was the band as well, was attending some sort of wrestling event, and they were doing a quick little cross promotion with that. I thought that was neat. I thought that was really entertaining. Say that Smashing Pumpkins didn't really address the audience all that much, beside your typical, we're glad you're here kind of banter, but I thought they were really, really good. The Smashing Pumpkins is a band that I never thought that I was ever going to get a chance to see live, especially after they went on that very, very long hiatus, due to drugs and alcohol, which, is a punk rock / emo band from the 90s to 2000s. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, how can you not have a big grin on your face when they play 1979 and tonight, just so nice. The best way that I would describe the Smashing Pumpkins is it always reminds me of Halloween. It doesn't matter what album, it doesn't matter what song. As soon as the Smashing Pumpkins comes on, my brain just goes, oh, it must be Halloween. It's the kind of vibe of like sitting in the cemetery with your friends, you know, probably of a goth variety, or maybe just in Halloween costumes, and you're sitting there smoking cigarettes that you stole from your parents. Not that I condone smoking, it's a terrible habit, and I don't recommend anyone does it. But it's the kind of vibe that the music gives me. But you're sitting there with your friends, and you're talking about how shitty things are and how bad life is. But you're with your friends. And being with your friends makes everything okay. And that's the vibe that Smashing Pumpkins always gave me. I would love to go ahead and see them live and hear more songs than they played. Like I said, I absolutely love the Smashing Pumpkins, and I very much look forward to seeing them again in the future as well. And now here we are with the big boys, the reason why we're here, Green Day. Green Day is one of those magic bands, very similar to Blink, where it's, you know, it's a trio of guys. They are high energy, very entertaining. But I think what resonated me most this time was the personal connection that I have to both Dookie and to American Idiot. Now, I am as old as Dookie, so I wasn't around when the album first came out, so it would be about, 10 to 12 years before I would ever start getting exposed to it with iTunes and all that. The reason why I got into Green Day, my friends were trying to get me into Linkin Park, and they have a song, in the end. In the end, it doesn't even matter. And, being me, I was like, oh, this band Green Day, I think I know them. And I got the first song that I ever heard from Green Day was In the End, which is a completely different song than Linkin Park's In the End. I was kind of hooked from that point moving forward. Dookie always kind of just resonated to me with its punk rock vibe. Another fun fact is that when I was like middle school, learning about iTunes and burning CDs and things, what I would do is I would burn like mixtape CDs for my friends, and what I would do is I would try to pick songs that I would think they would like. Now I know for a fact they never listened to any of the goddamn CDs that I made, but a lot of them contained a big chunk of Dookie, then American Idiot as well. Dookie, as someone who is, always resonated with punk rock music, is like the epitome. It's just punk rock perfection. Just feeling that stress of like, being cramped at home and trying to figure things out and feeling like you're burning up, like Burnout. I love Burnout. It's just always resonated with me, even at a very young age and even into my adulthood. Dookie is one of those few albums where I could go ahead and listen to it from front to back. Wondering, okay, Kirk, but what's your favorite song from the Dookie album? My favorite song from Dookie is All By Myself, and we were in for such a treat because All By Myself was originally a bonus track on the Dookie album, and I wondered, are they going to play it? Because originally it was actually sung by Trey Cool, not Billy Joe Armstrong, and lo and behold, right as they got towards the end, they started up and they had the sound of an orchestra, dun 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 dun, violins and shit, and Trey Cool comes out in a bathrobe, and he's singing, he's singing, I'm no one was looking when I'm all by myself, and it was so goddamn funny, and it was so cool to see one of my favorite stupid fucking songs about jerking off live, but also see it performed by Trey Cool in a bathrobe, dancing around, pretending like he's, jerking or gonna strip. Like, it was so funny that I kind of lost how epic it was. It was epic as well, because being able to see that is really cool. But I was like, damn, my favorite song. I'm so glad I was here to see it. and it was awesome. So after they had gotten through Dookie, they had played a couple of other hits. You know, they went ahead and they played Know Your Enemy, Brain Stew, a couple of songs to go ahead and tide us over. Minority, another one. They did their bit where they bring someone out in the audience to go ahead and sing with them when they sang "Know Your Enemy." It was nice that they got like a young woman up, and she was so happy and she was crying and shit. While the selection of songs that they picked for the middle section from between Dookie and American Idiot was really good, I would have liked them to play 21 Guns. I love 21 Guns, but listen, this is a long ass concert. You know, this is a long concert, and given the fact that they played 2 albums front to back, I mean, come on. I'm not going to be really bitch about that. The song selection was excellent. And then we get into American Idiot, and just from the start, it was just magical. Don't get me wrong, I love Dookie, I really do. But at the time, I was older than the album was, so I wasn't around to experience like what it meant. And I think, maybe this is a controversial hot take, I think that American Idiot is one of the few albums that is legitimately perfect from front to back, no skipping songs. I'm not counting bonus tracks and that crap. Front to back, the classic American Idiot album is just perfection, front to back. And there's a lot of different interpretations that you can get from some of the songs, but the biggest thing of American Idiot to me is like the critique on America and how media runs everything and how we handle religion, education, drugs. I mean, there's so much to unpack with American Idiot that maybe someday I'll sit down and do a big analysis on what it means to me. But seeing this, one of my favorite albums, just front to back, was just so good. You know, American Idiot, Jesus of Suburbia, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Holiday, and on through the end of, you know, Novocaine, We Are the Waiting, St. Jimmy, She's a Rebel, What's Her Name. It was just so fucking cool to see that from front to back. I will say that Novocaine was one of those songs that always hit me a little bit different. I know I've been talking about being emotional these past couple of videos, but it just hits me in the right spot. You just cry a little bit. You know, I think Novocaine is beautiful. I think it's sweet, and it's a great lead up into the other songs.
Drain the pressure from the swelling. The sensation's overwhelming. Give me a kiss goodnight. Everything will be alright. Tell me that I won't feel sick. Give me Novocaine.
What's cool about American Idiot is that so many of the songs are like double songs. You know, they're 2 songs in one long track. So listening it from front to back really is a treat. I recommend doing it. And of course, they play "Wake Me Up When September Ends," and that was really beautiful. You know, phone lights and all that shit everywhere. And as they were getting close, you know, I mean, it was long. I mean, I was dancing and screaming my heart out. My voice was hoarse and my legs hurt from jumping and dancing. And as we get closer to the end of American Idiot, I'm like, holy crap, you know, we're almost over, and that's really a shame. It was beautiful, but bittersweet in a way, knowing that something so awesome is coming to an end. A couple of other moments that stood out to me during both sections is that there was one point where someone got pushed down. I think it was during Dookie, and Billy Joe stopped the concert. You know, God bless him, what a nice guy. He stopped the concert and he said, "No, stop! Hey, someone's down, get him up." And they went up and got him up. Like none of that fucking Travis Scott Juice WRLD shit where people getting trampled. Like, no, not at a Green Day concert, motherfucker. So they stopped it. They got him up. They got him taken care of, and it was nice. But as we were getting to the end of What's Her Name, I just felt, I'm like, damn, we're getting to the end of the show. And it was almost at the end. You know, they played a couple more songs. from the Saviors album towards the end. And there were some good choices, like the one, I was sober and then I'm drunk again. I really like that one. And then we get to Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. I mean, come on. What else were they going to go ahead and end with? And what's funny is that the song before, Billy Joe Armstrong threw his voice out. And he got so into it, and there was so much love and energy in the crowd that, yeah, son of a bitch, he threw his voice out just at the end. He still finished the concert, and it sounded great, don't get me wrong. But then, the next day we found out that the show that was supposed to be in Hershey, Pennsylvania got pushed back till September because he had injured himself while singing. And it just goes to show how much crazy energy that he has, and the love and, being together despite what happened with the rain, and just making the best of it and enjoying everyone's company. And it was very, very clear that there were a lot of people that were fans of both albums. I think that it's very hard for Green Day to top American Idiot, just how good it is. Now, I'm not saying that their future stuff wasn't good. They certainly had a lot of good songs and a lot of very good albums, over their expansive career. But American Idiot is just that iconic peak. Just can't top it. I don't feel like you have to.
Read between the lines of what's fucked up and everything's alright. Check my vital signs to know what's the line to the Delphina. I walk alone.
Like I said, he's just one of those influential bands that has been quintessential to, my life and influencing my taste in music and things that I get into. And I find that as I get older, I find American Idiot to be more thought-provoking in its critique on America, especially these days. But I find that it's an album with that's message, no matter which way you look at it, I feel gets truer and truer the more as time goes on. What's my favorite song from American Idiot? That's a really tough question. I think that my favorite song from American Idiot would be Jesus of Suburbia, followed closely by maybe American Idiot, Boulevard, Holiday, Nova. I mean, I can't just pick. It's hard to pick just one, but if I had to pick just one, yeah, Jesus of Suburbia. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see two of the most prolific albums in history of punk rock and music in general being played by a band as talented and as funny and as energized as Green Day. I mean, just there's so much happening at the show. I just couldn't put it all into a single video. So that's why I, of course, have my clips sprinkled throughout. If you get a chance to see this tour, do it. Even if you're in the shittiest seats, Green Day will make you feel like they are there to see you. So I highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. It is great from the start, when the bunny costume comes out, all the way to the end with Good Riddance, and it's just amazing. I'm in awe on how fantastic this show was, and I hope that I get to see Green Day again soon, and I hope that fans get to enjoy it. It's a hell of a time. The Saviors tour better than Hella Mega? That's gonna come down to your opinion on what you think of Fall Out Boy and Weezer. As far as Green Day, I mean, this is again just absolute peak song choice, peak performance, peak everything. It was just fantastic from beginning to end. Not even to mention, the blimp they had that said "Bad Year" that was floating around, all the visuals and all the grenade statue that, with the bleeding heart on the hand. They had that, and it was giant. It was so much fun. There's more of the show that I could possibly ever talk about without being a douchebag and recording the whole thing, and I never want to do that. I only want to take little clips to go ahead and show things here and there and show some highlights, but go ahead and see this. You will not regret it. But let's get into the shirt. Now, unlike the Hella Mega Tour, I was able to pick up a t-shirt this time. Of course, this has the classic Green Day Heart Grenade. It's the album cover of American Idiot. And then here we have the Saviors Tour 2024. And then we got all those dates and crap on the back. One thing that I really, really liked is there was a hoodie that combined both the American Idiot heart grenade and the cover of Dookie, which I thought was really, really cool. A little pricey, $80, but if you have the money for it, I think you'll probably go ahead and get a kick out of it. And that was the Saviors Tour. An absolute roller coaster from beginning to end. Non-stop action, fun, energy, despite the rain, despite everything. And I got to enjoy two of my favorite albums, front to back. That is such a cool experience that we don't always get. Well, that being said, thank you guys so very much for watching and letting me gush about Green Day for so long, and I will see you guys soon.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this dance and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you have the time of your life.